Welcome into the Unfiltered Flyers Mailbag. Every Thursday, we answer all of your Flyers questions because if you didn't know, we're the hockey show right here because you got Ricky Bo, huge hockey fan. You got me, huge hockey fan. So make sure you get your questions in every single week. You do it on Twitter. You can hit us up with emails, Bill at 97.5 The Fanatic. And also make sure you're listening every single weekday live from 2 to 6, or make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. We podcast everything from the live show. All right, Ricky, you ready for some questions?
Yep.
This was something that was making the rounds all week last week when Sean Couturier made some critical comments about Matvei Michkov. Some fans lost their minds that Couturier was going to ruin Michkov and the Flyers were going to ruin him. Did we make too much of that? And by we, I mean the fans, because you and I really didn't think it was a big deal.
Yeah, I think they did. I think the one thing that you have to understand is that stuff like this is probably already talked about in the locker room. You got to believe Couturier, being around as long as he has talked to Michkov. He has probably brought these things up to him, and I think he was just stressing on what they've been working on with him. I don't think that was like an absolute dagger to Michkov by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's kind of one of those things where he was trying to tell people what's going on here and why he's not, putting the puck in the net every single night. But I think what it really comes down to is that he was trying to say he's got to play a little bit more of a team game rather than a solo, be out there as a solo guy. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's something that had already been talked about within the locker room, so it just kind of came out through Couturier. He was just probably stating a fact, in my opinion. He was stating a fact that had already happened.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And Couturier is the captain. Because I saw some fans being like, well, Couturier should look in the mirror and at his play. No. He is the captain. We can critique Couturier's play and all that, but as a captain, I think it is his job to repeat kind of all the stuff that was already in the locker room. I know people had issues with him saying it publicly, but he was asked a specific question about Michkov and things he could do when he's not scoring, and he answered it, saying that there's more to just scoring in this league. And I said this on air, and I'll say it again. I think Flyers fans, we've been so starved for a superstar that we're afraid that if we're too critical of Michkov, we're going to somehow ruin him. He's not going to want to play here. Because not only have we been starved for a superstar, I think what's going on with Couturier is also getting to people a little bit. So they're like, oh, see, he didn't want to play here. We can't lose Michkov. Relax. It's okay. And I think being critical of him is going to develop him into a better player. And now, was he 3 games in a row with a goal now?
Yeah, and you brought up an interesting thing. You used the word develop. I mean, these players just don't come over here and all of a sudden they're Sidney Crosby. I mean, it takes some time for these guys to develop, to get used to the speed of the game, to get used to their teammates, to get used to for him, to get used to a new country. I mean, there's a lot.
Don't even speak the language yet.
There's a lot that goes into it, and I'm sure you just brought up the language. I'm sure there's a lot lost in translation of what he's trying to do out on the ice. So, I mean, he's kind of learning on the fly. You got to let this kind of develop, let it kind of run into what it's going to be, and it doesn't take overnight, and people got to be a little bit patient. I think because of the way the Flyers have been playing early on in the season, the first thing you jump to is, wow, Michkov is going to get going, score 50 goals, and they're going to be well into the playoffs. I mean, it's just not that simple.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Lost in translation. Weird movie, too, by the way. Got good reviews. Wasn't a fan. All right, next up. And this is kind of coming off of last night. So if you watched the game last night, looked like the Flyers had won it with only 23 seconds left. They get that goal, and then they go to the review, and it turns out offsides on Owen Tippett. Goes to overtime. They lose the game to the Oilers. Are there too many reviews in hockey? So I'll take a stab at this one first. Here's my issue with the reviews. I'm all for getting a call right. I love instant replay. I want there to be challenge system in Major League Baseball for balls and strikes. I want the right call. What bothers me about hockey, though, especially on offsides calls like you saw last night in the game against the Oilers, it should have had an impact on the play itself. I think the offsides needed to have happened within 5 seconds of the goal being scored for you to be able to review it. When you enter the zone and a guy's just slightly offsides and then it takes 25, 30 seconds and you're still playing the game and then there's a goal, I don't think you should be able to review it and say, up, the whole play, we're going to go back 30 seconds. I think it needs to have had an immediate reaction. It should be that the offsides is what then resulted in a fast break for a goal. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're
That's
saying.
where I think there's too many reviews. Other than that, I'm okay with the goaltender interference and things like that because you do want to get the call right.
But here's the other thing. I don't think you should have the league do it like what happened in last night's game. That was not called by the Oilers.
Because it was under a
That
minute.
was not by the coach. I think if it's under a minute, if there's 20 minutes left in the game, it matters exactly the same. You know what I mean? Just because it's late in the game, you're going to recheck it. I think that's a bunch of garbage, unless of course the Oilers coach said, "Wait a minute, he was offsides. Let's try this." Because I think it was one of those things where you weren't really paying attention at that point when he was offsides. So I don't think that should have been reviewed. I just think let him play a little bit. I understand the play was definitively offsides when you looked at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it should have to be a team that's saying we want it reviewed, not the league jumping in.
Twice now, Flyers thought they had a game in hand. That review changed the outcome. All right, let's go to the next one.
Should have been a 5-on-3 too when they went at when they hit Vladar in the net. Should have been a 5-on-3 at the end of that.
Vladar looked good again last night.
Yeah,
he did. All right, next one. I like this question. Trevor Zegras, a pending restricted free agent. Should the Flyers sign him now before he keeps pace to set career highs and drives up the price tag, or do they wait until he proves himself with a larger body of work? I'd sign him right now.
I like what he's done. I like what he does. I think he's a leader when he's on the ice. He's a playmaker. You know what? He can make something out of nothing. You don't have a lot of that with the Flyers right now. As a matter of fact, I think he's the one guy that you look to if you're trying to, sneak a puck to somebody that's wide open on the other side of the ice and there's a bunch of defenders around. He's a guy that can do that. I just think I would sign him. It's a valid question because why would you want to wait? Every day you wait and that he's playing better and better, that means that price is going up, up, and up every single game. I think you probably could get him at a pretty fair price right now in a 3 or 5 year contract. I would do it immediately.
Yeah, I would too, especially because it's not like this kid's a rookie. We saw how good he could be the first couple of years that he came into the league and then kind of fell out of favor a little bit, did battle injuries, couldn't really find his role. I think the change of scenery has showed, no, he is the player we thought he was the first couple of years in the league. I would sign him now.
Stick handling ability.
Yeah, it looks like a great trade by Danny Briere to get him here. So, yeah, I would sign him now. Along those same lines, which players on this team do you foresee being a part of this team when they are actually ready to compete? That's a tough question for me. Because
Konechny signed, remember that.
Konechny's
so he's going to be there.
I mean, Couturier is probably starting to age himself out.
I would say when they're really good contenders, I would say Couturier probably would be retired at that point.
Yeah, but the reason this is a tough question is I still need to see how some of these other guys continue to grow. Like Bobby Brink's coming into the season, he's playing pretty well. Is that going to continue? Is he a part of the future? I think Tyson Forrester's already proven he can score goals in this league. Unfortunately, he got hurt, but he was back last night. He's a part of the future for sure.
And I think Drysdale's going to play himself into one of those guys.
Oh, I hope so.
And I
Drysdale's an interesting one, man.
I know Cam York had one of those question mark performances last night, and especially in the overtime. But I think he's a guy that's not afraid to step up on offense, and he kind of goes into that mold of a Travis Sanheim. I like Sanheim. I don't know how.
Sanheim's a stud.
I think he's going to be here.
But Drysdale, I'm still waiting for him to take that big step.
It seems like right now he makes a lot of mistakes, but he's still young, and you hope he grows out of those mistakes. I don't think there's a ton of guys on this team that are really kind of stable enough. I like Noah Cates. I would say that.
Cates is a good player.
I think Noah Cates ends up staying. I think.
What about Tippett?
I need to see his potential. We haven't seen it. What's funny
you've seen
about
it at times. You've seen glimpses.
But that's the problem.
He's got speed. He can score.
See a game out of him where he'll play like Connor McDavid, and then you'll see 4 or 5 games out of him that he's doing a lot of reaching, not as much using his legs. I think that being said, I think he's got it in him. So I think he could be one of those players who could be pretty dynamic. He's just got to get that through his head that he could do that.
Now, I will say this as we talk about this team being ready to compete and who's going to be here. The goalie that will lead you, hopefully, to the promised land isn't here yet.
No, I think Vladar will be here for a while, but I think he'll end up taking a back seat to somebody who's not here yet.
Yeah, I think if this team shows this year that they take a step forward, I think you'll see Danny Keith Jones make a move for a goalie in the offseason.
Well, we've seen him get rid of Bob Bobrovsky. We've seen him get rid of
Stolars.
Stolars. I mean, these guys have become pretty good goaltenders along the way. So, I mean,
Don't throw salt in the wound.
Well, I'm just saying there probably wasn't an eye in there. You got to think about who's got the eye for seeing things. You brought up Danny made a nice little trade with the Zegras thing. So I mean,
and the Vladar move looks good right now.
The Vladar moves looks really good. So yeah. Danny has a pretty good eye as to what he wants to do.
In Danny, we trust. Yeah. So make sure you get us your Flyers questions every single week. We do this every Thursday. But like I said, you better be listening every weekday from 2 to 6. And if you miss any of it, just check us out on any podcast platform. Search for Unfiltered with Ricky Bowe and Bill Colarulo. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for watching Unfiltered on YouTube. You could like and subscribe down here. You could also see our other shows over here. Go ahead and watch them all. We love when you watch. The one thing, hey, you could also catch us on 97.5 The Fanatic, 97.5thefanatic.com, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. See you there.